We are doing a series on the biggest developments, the trends, and kind of, how to make sense of all the growth happening around Charlotte. We are going to Chadbourn Mill. It's a 20th century hosiery factory, which is now being transformed into retail and restaurants and office space. And we're meeting with Eric Johnson from White Point, which has done several projects like this. And they're part of a trend called adaptive reuse, where developers are turning old industrial buildings into things like breweries and restaurants and new uses. This developer is also behind Optimist Hall, which just opened as a food hall, and Duke Energy also has an office there. People in Charlotte often kind of bemoan losing local landmarks and losing pieces of their history, and this is just one way that perhaps we can use some of these old buildings to give them new life and to preserve them and their historical significance.
This is going to be about 40,000 square feet of office, so each floor plate, this one and the one on the ground level, are about 20,000 square feet. So tenant TBD, but we are hoping to have a tenant that likes the creative, open use, wonderful view uptown, and then obviously a lot of natural light from where this clear story is above us.
What is going into this process?
Yeah, so good question. If you look now, the building is being demoed, right? Openings that were original are being cut back out. And so short version, it'll just be simple. Windows, new MEP, and some modern finishes. On this side, it will be mostly popping in windows that mirror what was here historically.
And do you think that this helps Charlotte with sort of bucking that trend of, Charlotte tears down its history and that reputation that sometimes, people put on the city?
Yeah, I think absolutely. When we first started looking at this area, to us it was a pretty easy decision whether we want to invest here. The light rail was planned and funded and under construction. We saw what had happened in South End. And when we started researching the history, what we realized is it's not actually a bunch of neighborhoods that had no common connection and they just created it. And as an example, the different mills used to play baseball against each other, right? And I think what you're seeing now is some of these buildings that were at the center of these neighborhoods coming back to life with other purposes. And what we want to do is ultimately tell the story of how all those neighborhoods interact. So you've got Optimist Park, where Optimist Hall is. You've got Belmont, which is where Sweet Lou's Barbecue is. There's another mill over there, Hawthorne. This is really the edge of Optimist Park where Matheson is right there. And then you get into Noda, right, which is the one that everyone thinks of from a textile business standpoint. And again, you've got the historic neighborhood there. You've got a bunch of mills that have been redone. But again, all those started within 20 years of each other. And again, I think our goal is to tell that story to some extent and have people that come up here embrace that history.